Welcome to the Dream 100 Show, the epicenter of influence, collaboration, and exponential growth. You're about to discover the power of relationships. Dream 100 relationships. And you're one relationship away from a totally different business and life. This is your host, Michael Tasner.
Hey there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Dream 100 Show. Today's topic is all about associations. Now, depending on where you're located, depending on the audience that you're serving, this strategy, like any marketing strategy, is going to need to be adapted and tweaked and refined. But what I wanted to share with you is how I personally and the clients that we're deploying this strategy for are absolutely crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. Now, I'm all about how can we make it more and more real and relevant so that we're not pie in the sky. And the way that I like to do that, A, I like to share things that I'm doing all day, every day. But B, I always like to give you different industry or niches or types of companies. So we're going to do some local and some national. So first off, when I say association, what do I mean by association? There are organizations that are local to you that tend to be labeled a chamber of commerce. And that association is a little bit more of an organization. Now, some people are like, that chamber of commerce is an association, but hang with me. So if you're serving a local market and you're looking to serve business owners, so if you're a website designer, you only want to serve locally, your Dream 100 audience would be getting in with that local chamber of commerce. They could refer you lots and lots of people. So you would be looking for, where am I going to get business owners? And you look for all those organizations. I really see Chamber of Commerce, for example, in these groups as groups and organizations. When I say association, I'm referring to industry-specific associations. So a group of owners, a group of businesses that are in a very particular narrow niche. For example, one of the audiences that I serve is trampoline parks. And there are a couple of industry associations for the family entertainment complex. And these industry associations have lots of trampoline park businesses that are members. Now, I could look at, okay, great, these trampoline parks. If I am looking to get in with or work with trampoline parks, I want to know what are all of the associations that these trampoline park owners and or decision makers are involved in. Now, the broader Dream 100 strategy, if you were targeting, and we said, great, I've got a business serving trampoline parks. Let's say you're selling some of that crazy ninja gear, very niche business, and you want to serve trampoline parks and similar type businesses. You're like, well, how do I get in with lots and lots of them? We sell to a lot of them, but how do I get in with a lot of them? Well, I would want to look and see, where are they hanging out? What are all the organizations and associations that they belong to? And you're going to find that a lot of them belong to this family entertainment complex association. Now, a lot of variables and a lot of kind of twists and turns can occur when you locate those associations. But as I've talked a lot in the past, I don't want you to be seen as a vendor. I don't want you to walk into this association and say, I want to sponsor it. I want to get access to all your members. I sell to trampoline parks. You've got this great product. That's not what we're going to do. Where we are seeing success is that we're figuring out who the director, so usually there's a director, there's typically a board of directors, there's often, depending on the association, a CEO. If it's a very niche association, it might have a founder, for example, but usually there's a couple of people that are the core decision makers. I want to figure out everything I can about them. similarly to what you would do with the Dream 100 framework. I want to know what makes them tick. How many kids do they have? Where do they live? What are they? I want to know about them. The other thing that I need to do is I want to know everything that there is to know about their specific association. I want to know how many members they have. I want to read and subscribe to their newsletters. And I do all this before I shoot my shot. Same thing with all the pre-work before you decide to go after some of these Dream 100 relationships. You make sure that your marketing is on point. Your social media accounts are updated. Your copy, like everything looks good before you start that outreach. The difference with a lot of these associations is that you often don't get a lot of different opportunities. When you get them hooked and you get their attention, usually we start to move that relationship forward a little bit faster than you may normally do. So again, I want to know about their association. I want to read the PS, and I want to read, we're looking for more members, or we're looking for help with X. What I am looking for is any time they say we could use help with X. Do you know anyone that can do X? Here's what we're trying to do for this next year. Any ideas? So they're often going to the members or their audience and saying, we could use some help. A lot of these associations are nonprofits. They're not set up to make a whole pile of cash. They're set up to serve like-minded people, and usually there's some added benefits to the people that are running it. And I'm not going to go into the intricacies of every type of, like, is it a nonprofit, is it LLC, a corporation, boards of directors, who has equity, share, like, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But a lot of these associations, they're not gigantic money makers. That it's more often founded by somebody who has a business in that niche. They didn't see an association like, hey, I want to get together with like-minded people and kind of learn more. There's a lot of buying groups. But these buying groups, to me, they're not necessarily associations unless they're calling themselves that. So there are a lot of different definitions. But we'll stick with the trampoline park one, and then I'm going to give you some other examples. So we have this association, the Family Entertainment Complex Association. We've done the research. We know who's running it, who's making the decisions. We've looked at their website. We've read their weekly newsletters. I want to look at what I can do to add value and or send them money without becoming a vendor or a sponsor. What can I do? So if I find something in one of the newsletters, they're saying we could use help with X, I might offer help. Now, selfishly, where we have seen the best success, bar none, is when we've offered marketing support. What can I do to help your association grow? Most of these associations, they're not growing rapidly. Usually it's going the other direction. How can I help you gratis? I know you've said you're looking for more members. Can I redesign your website? Can we take over your social media and help post? I see you're only posting once a week. I don't want any money. We'll do this gratis. And what ends up happening again is one of the laws of persuasion is the law of reciprocity. When you're doing things for people, they want to return the favor. Now, in these conversations, I'm going to bring up and I'm going to talk about and talk through that. Yeah, I'm in the industry. I would love to work with more of these trampoline parks, but I want to give you some value before we even talk about that. And often what ends up happening is that we get invited to speak at their conference. And that is where I put as many of my eggs in the particular basket is how do I get to be a speaker at their event? I don't want a logo on their website. It's fine. We've been there, done that. I want to be able to speak to their audience as an expert. When you're seen as a vendor, when you've got a booth and you're behind a booth, you're seen as a vendor. You're seen as everyone else. When you're speaking from a stage, you're on this, you're up on like a pedestal. You're an expert. You're the authority. You are commanding the room. You're not seen as a vendor. Now, the way that you mess up this whole relationship is that you then have a hard pitch from the stage. I've done that. I burned several bridges until I learned that I don't hard pitch ever. I give as much value as I possibly can, and I say something like, I'm going to be over in this corner if anyone wants to have a conversation. Now, I'm going to, in my intro, not the first thing, but in my intro, I'm going to let them know what I do. My presentation is going to be the 7 mistakes that trampoline park owners are making when they're buying new equipment and how to save 10% every year for the next 10 years. You're going to grab their attention. You're going to hook them. So about me, I'm going to give you my 30-second bio really quickly. I'm in Buffalo, New York. I have 4 kids. I've been married for 17 years, and I own the largest business that supplies trampoline park owners just like you. Many of our customers are actually in the room. I've had the opportunity to meet you. That's what we do. So enough about me. Let's get into the value. So I want them to know what I did, what I do, what's my industry experience, and then I come from a place of serving. Where we are getting insane results is from speaking on those stages. Now, what we often will do is we'll negotiate in lieu of a speaking fee. We're never taking a speaking fee. I'm going to let them know how much they're saving. So my normal speaking fee is $10,000 plus travel. I'm open to, helping this association, and I'll waive it, but I want to make sure that I'm speaking. And would you be open to me giving away XYZ? Now, what they'll often do is they'll look at their sponsor or their vendor list and say, well, and there are different opportunities for sponsorship, and they'll say, well, you want to put flyer in a bag, do these other things, we'll put your logo on the website. That stuff's fine and dandy. The magic comes from speaking. The magic comes from being at their event, meeting people. Now, the next best things are doing educational content that's going to their audience on a regular basis. So the other way that we love to help out is we'll say, I produce a ton of content. Would you be open to me making exclusive content for you and your members? I'm happy to give you a 30-minute video with a manual or I'm going to give you everything. Deliver it to you on a silver platter once a month, and you can brand it as your association. Just keep my name on there. Would that be helpful? Now all of a sudden you're producing a column or you're doing a webinar, and they're not one-off things. But what you haven't heard me say is you haven't offered to pay anything. You have not offered any money. Once the money conversation comes up, or you use the word sponsor or vendor, the conversation changes like that. It just changes. Because again, sponsors and vendors, they pay a lot of the association. That's how they generate a lot of revenue. And then the other one is through the members. If they think they can get you for $5, $10, $15, $20,000, they're going to try that. But you're not going to be able to often speak from the stage as a vendor. Oh no, we don't let our vendors, they can do a 5-minute pitch during lunch. It's a disaster. I've been there, I've done that. It's terrible. I'll never do it again. Never again. The only time that we've agreed to be a vendor and pay a fee is when we have negotiated in that we can speak at these associations. Now, associations, they work best when you are able to have a national audience. And they work really well if you have a product that you can sell to people in a particular niche. You've got a product, you've got a service, one of those two. There is an association for everything. Basket weaving associations, for example. Like any industry, you want to sell, you've got a product that you sell to people that have horses. There are so many different associations when it comes to horses and horse breeds and farming that you can make the same kind of pitch. Getting in with these associations, and you're getting all of that free branding, all that free exposure just by getting in there. Now, if you're a local business and you're saying, Michael, I only serve 20 miles in and around Milwaukee, I'd have to better understand your type of business. But let's say you are selling used cars in the Milwaukee area. And you're like, well, who would make sense as an association? Okay. You might say, well, should I join all the used car dealer associations? The only reason that would make sense to me was that if you're trying to network with some of the other ones you can only serve a certain type of customer. Maybe you're a buy here, pay here, for example. And you want to network with all the people that they can't finance people that have terrible credit. If they have bad credit, they're not able to finance them, but you can. That association would make sense. But if I'm selling used cars, I have to look for associations that are only casting that net in my area. And in those types of cases, you're going to refer back to the Chamber of Commerce's, for example. You're going to look for certain organizations that are local that are going to have your target customer. Now, a used car dealer, the nice thing with that is your target customer, I don't want to say is everyone, but you've got a pretty wide net. So it's not just the Chamber of Commerce's you're looking at, all the different places where you can be casting a net and getting exposure. But this association strategy, it's a much tougher one if you are only serving a local market. Let's say that you have a skincare line and you're an e-commerce business, and I know one of our readers and listeners has that exact business. So what would I do? What associations would I want to join to get to my end customers? So if my end customers are two different things, you've got the REITs, you're trying to get into retail stores, and then you're trying to sell direct to consumer most likely. What associations would I join? Well, I would look for every retail association that exists. And I'm going to come up with content and ideas that I can present to them so that I can start to come to their events and speak to their retailers about something that I'm an expert in. Whether that's sourcing products, formulation, hiring, marketing, whatever it is. And oh, by the way, I just happen to have a skincare line. I look at how I can add value. If I'm looking to get into my end consumers, looking for associations, maybe people that they're joining associations around organic or healthy living, people that are joining these like-minded people. Now, keeping in mind that associations, they tend to have a very specific area where they look at certain businesses. You have to be a business in XYZ niche or serving that niche. However, there are a lot of people and organizations that might call themselves an association, but in reality, they're just a group of people that have like interests. There are many, many associations around producing organic products. I would look at joining those. But what I have found the best success in are you've got a product or you've got a service that you're selling to a business, because we can very rapidly find an association that serves those people. And again, the fast track is how do you give something different? The way that I'm getting success is I'm offering gratis marketing to these associations. I see your website sucks. Instead of paying $25,000, how about I redo it? And I might not even ask for anything yet. Now they know there's going to be an ask. They might say, well, sounds too good to be true. What do we have to do? Well, let me give some value to you. You can see how we work. And I'm hoping that things will come around, but let me see what I can do for you. Now, $25,000 website's a pretty big gift. But we come swinging out of the gates of what can I do to serve you, give you value? We're going to do the gifting strategy, but what I found with the gifting strategy is that a lot of these people that are making the day-to-day decisions, they have a lot of strict rules similar to corporations when it comes to gifting. They can't be influenced by vendors. So we just say, how can we help serve your association? Get out there, find some of the industry associations that make sense for you, give some value to them, start networking, building those relationships, and you will be able to get access to the people and the businesses that you're trying to serve. Get out there, take some action. Michael Tasner signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'll see you next week.